Starting. Me.
All right, just to clear it up, that was my sister on one phone and then my aunt and uncle on the other phone there. I'm Nic Zito, and today we're going to be talking about auctions. We're going to talk about what auctions are, a quick history about auctions, some pros and cons of the auction way, types of auctions and the type of auctioneers that work in those fields, how auctioneers make a chant, and how much auctioneers make. First off, what is an auction? An auction is a form of buying and selling goods where that object goes to the highest bidder. So the auctioneer will stand up, call out bids, and then when the bids stop at the highest number, a buyer will hold up a number, the auctioneer will say the number, a clerk will write it down, and then at the end of the sale, they will go and check out and pay, and everybody goes on their way at the end of the day. A quick history about auctions. The first auction was in 500 BC in ancient Greek, selling slaves, according to history of auctions from Georgia State. In the United States, auctions have been used since the first settlers had arrived and used to sell crops, imports, livestock, and tools. Cited from Auction History from Virginia Auctioneer Association. The common nickname for an auctioneer is colonel, and this came from the Civil War era, when the colonels would auction off the spoils of war. Now we're going to talk about some common types of auctions that people will probably know and the type of auctioneers that work in these fields. So the first type of auction we're going to talk about is car auctions. Car auctions are probably the most fast-paced and probably the most chaotic auctions there is. There's usually multiple rings of selling going on at the same time. Cars are pulling in, pulling out. And yes, probably 4 or 5 auctioneers usually work a typical car auction. They're big, the auctioneer, and car auctioneers are usually the fastest auctioneers there is. They're selling to a very educated crowd who knows how auctions work, and that allows them to sell at such a fast pace and have such a fast chant. Another common type of auctions is livestock auctions. Livestock auctioneers are known more as singers. They have a real pretty chant because they're up there for sure all day. And they're again selling to another pretty high educated auction crowd, so they know what's going on, and that allows them to run a pretty snappy, fast pace as well. Changing gears though, when we're talking estate sales, this is a pretty common advertisement for an estate sale, just a little flyer. And estate sales usually run a pretty basic chant. It's not a lot of filler. It's really easy to understand. Usually it's not that fast because we have a lot of people that maybe haven't ever been to an auction, so they won't understand maybe some of the fast chants the livestock and car guys do, but it's very clear and not quite as fast, just for like a novice crowd who might not understand everything going on. And then real estate auctioneers, who can be any of the that we have listed already. Usually real estate auctions are very slow. We're dealing with large amounts of money, selling one time, not multiple little volumes of money. So it's a long auction with breaks in between, but anybody can sell it. They just need to take their time and be clear and pull out as much money as they can. And then we have charity auctions, and charity auctions are probably one of the most fun auctions. People are there to donate, so they're there to have a good time. But the thing about charity auctioneer, he's also a showman. He's there to make a show. He's interact with the crowd to keep everybody interested and make sure everybody's having a good time. So the charity auctioneer, also, like I said, a showman, puts on a show, jokes, all of that, just to make it a fun time. And we also have online auctions. And online auctions have, I would say, dominated, especially the heavy machinery industry. There's very few live heavy machinery auctions anymore. So when we go into talking about pros and cons, which I'm going to do now, that is a big pro of the online auction, is they allow you to reach such a larger viewing of people. So these things that are worth so much more money, you're catching a broader audience with less overhead because you don't have everyone gathering around the equipment. They just bid from home. So online is definitely dominating heavy equipment sales. Some pros from the estate side and the cattle side. You're not gonna set caps on anything. You're not gonna, you're leaving the top end of the market open. You list a piece of real estate, or you list some cattle on the internet to sell. You're capping it. You say, I want $200,000 for this house. And you get $200,000 for this house. That's great. Let's say a group of us come in. We say, yeah, we'll sell your house for you. We get $250,000 for your house. We get two people that just love your house so much, we make them compete for it. So that's a big pro of the auction way. We get people in these situations, and the sense of urgency in an auction setting. They just draws that extra money, and like I said, it doesn't cap your price like that. The con of auctions, though, the biggest con of auctions is it costs money. We have to pay the guys to set things up. We have to advertise. We have to get people there. We have to organize. It costs money to run a business, so it costs money to set up an auction, and that's the biggest downfall. You can go through and list all these things individually by yourself and not pay us, but when you're talking an estate sale, especially, we're usually dealing with a large volume of items, and we just want to get those items moved. And at the end of the day, everybody goes home. The items go home with their new owners. We all go home. Our clients go home with all the items sold and the money, and it's just it's a very simple process. How much auctioneers make? According to Salary Expert, the average salary for an auctioneer is $59,729. I'm guessing this is most likely an auctioneer who works probably 3 car livestock auctions a week. When we start talking auction company owners, you're talking commission, and that will all together depend on what type of company they're running, what they're selling, and how many auctions they're getting in a month or a year, or what, because if you're talking a high-end real estate company that's selling a lot of properties throughout the year, well, the real estate commission for an auctioneer is about 5%. So you sell a $180,000 house for 5%, $9,000. You can do that multiple times through the year. That's a great chunk. But you still have to do advertisement. You have to get people there, and it is a process of getting everybody there. The next thing we're going to talk about is probably the favorite thing that I like talking about. It's how auctioneers auction. Everybody asks, you tell them you're an auctioneer, they want to know, how do you do it? Well, when you're an auctioneer, they call it a monotone voice. You breathe from your diaphragm, and you get a big breath, and you sound monotone. You have the same tone, and you just use filler words in between the numbers. So some of the big filler words, or some of the most popular short filler words, are dollar, here, and now. They're short, easy to get through, and a good filler. When bidding has slowed down, auctioneers like to use longer filler words to cover up the empty space. So like dollar bidder now, that's a very common long one. And what do you give? So those are common longer filler words. But if we're doing like a very brief chant, you go like 225 here, now 250, and 225, 250, now 275, now 300, 300, 325, and 325, $350, just like that. Just here and now, $1. That's all you need. In conclusion, we covered how auctions work. We talked about some history of the auctions. We talked about different types of auctions and the auctioneers that work in them. The pros and cons of the auction way, how auctioneers auction, and the range of salary that auctioneers have. That's it. You want to do the pan again?
That was a lovely speech.
Okay, that's cute.